Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Thursday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for the next few days. We've got some interesting stuff to look at in terms of smoke, thunderstorm potential, and our temperatures. So we'll start right here with the satellite imagery. You can see we've got a lot of clouds moving north across Western Washington right now, and you can also see that there's a decent amount of smoke aloft and some surface smoke too mixed in there from the Bear Gulch fire burning here on the Olympic Peninsula, which has exploded to over 3,300 acres, an increase of over 1,000 acres in the last couple of days here. So that is really going to be a story we're going to have to watch very closely. Also, take a look at these thunderstorms. You got some thunderstorms moving up toward the Tri-Cities there right now, and some of these storms will be moving northwest toward parts of the lowlands. It remains to be seen if any decaying storms with some rain showers make it out over the lowlands, or if it just remains along the mountains. There's also a dry thunderstorm threat across parts of the Cascades today as well, which could mean more fire starts. Also got some marine layer on the coast as well. So lots of stuff going on the satellite imagery this morning. Taking a look at the radar, you can see where their storms are. You can see this line of storms moving up I-82 there toward I-90. You see some weakening storms moving out toward parts of western Oregon there, and then some more storms moving toward the Tri-Cities. So we'll have to watch these over the day here to see kind of what they do, how far west they get. We'll take a look at some forecasts for that in just a moment. Taking a look at our overall pattern, you can see this troughing here that is influencing some of these storms moving up over the Cascades. That diminishes here over the next day, may still bring some storms to northeast Washington tomorrow. You can see we got some ridging at times as we go through the weekend, but not very much. And then we have this trough moving in to Oregon and California. As we go into next week, it may bring some showers around the area. We'll have to watch that closely. And we do get a bit more uncertain with some ridging possible as we go into the next week of August there. Taking a look at the precipitation type forecast, you can see here those thunderstorms across the Cascades today, maybe a couple across the Olympics as well, not really what we want to see right now, and then potentially more thunderstorms across parts of eastern Washington as we go through tomorrow afternoon. And then we dry out a little bit on the weekend, a few showers on the coast possibly. Then you see this troughing moving in over as we go toward Monday, potentially bringing some thunderstorms to the Cascades there, maybe some showers to some parts of the coast. And then as we go toward next week, you can see a few areas of showers there, but nothing significant and nothing bringing much, if any, rain to the lowlands. So we will likely remain dry. Now taking a look at lightning flash density today, take a look at this as we go into this afternoon. Look at this thunderstorm chance across the Cascades and parts of eastern Washington there. Just a huge amount of lightning possible across parts of the region today. That continues as we go into the evening and then starts to diminish there. But this is really not what we want to see in terms of fires, because this could start a lot more fires as these thunderstorms will be quite dry. Then you can see as we go into Friday morning, you get more thunderstorms. They're pushed a little bit more north and east this time, but even around places like Spokane, decent chance of some storms as we go into Friday evening. And then that starts to diminish as well as we go into Saturday. And then another chance on Saturday for parts of northeast Washington and some of the Cascades. So you kind of see the pattern here and what's going on. So now taking a look at simulated radar, we have the NAM model on the left and the HRRR model on the right. Starting this at 10 a.m. as we go to 11, 12, 1. You see by 1 here, the HRRR, which has not been doing very good in the last few days, is showing some light rain moving across western Washington as some of these decaying thunderstorms move through the area. The NAM keeps that off to the east, though, in the mountains. Then you can see as we go to 3, 4, 5 p.m., the HRRR continues to show these decaying showers. The NAM shows it, but over a little bit more in the foothills, and then you can see that pushes north, and we got some interesting thunderstorm activity possible across parts of eastern Washington, and then maybe a little bit more as we go into Friday morning in terms of a few areas of decaying storms. So the big thing to watch today is how far west does some of this rain get that moves out from some of these thunderstorms that are moving north that we just looked at. If this gets out over parts of western Washington, we may get some brief rain showers, and we'll see what happens with that. Now, taking a look here, this is the Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 outlook for fire weather, and take a look at all this area here in the brown. That is the dry thunderstorm risk area. You can see that includes Spokane and most of eastern Washington there, and parts of the Cascades as well. So that is not really what we want to see. And going into Day 2, you can see that threat is diminished across parts of eastern Washington, but there could still be dry thunderstorms for sure. Now taking a look at high temperatures today, depending on cloud cover, these may be a little bit cooler, but we'll likely get highs in the upper 70s to low 80s from Seattle northward and low to mid 80s from Seattle southward here on Thursday. And you can see highs in the mid 60s on the coast. We cool down a tiny bit as we go into Friday with highs in the mid 70s to low 80s from Seattle north and in upper 70s to low 80s, maybe a few mid 80s from Seattle southward there. Highs on the coast in the mid 60s again. Same thing on Saturday, highs in the mid to upper 70s, Seattle north, upper 70s, low 80s, Seattle south, maybe some mid 80s down in Clark County, highs in the mid 60s on the coast there on Saturday. We cool down a bit on Sunday, mid 70s across most of the area, upper 70s from Seattle southward, mid 60s on the coast. Monday, we cool down a little bit more with highs across the region in the mid 70s, mid 60s again on the coast, and we stay there about on Tuesday with highs staying in the mid 70s, maybe upper 70s from Olympia southward. Now, this is what I wanted to take a look at. This is the Bear Gulch fire. This is that fire burning on the north part of Lake Cushman there off of Hood Canal. You can see Bremerton for reference over here, Union on the southern part of Hood Canal, and then Hoodsport is right here at my cursor, and then you have Lake Cushman here and the Bear Gulch fire, which just yesterday was... When I looked at this yesterday, this was 1,900 acres, and now it's been mapped at 3,055 acres. So you can see this thing is growing rapidly. These are the heat signatures on from the satellite there, and you can see how it's just burning up these canyons, and it's just expanding rapidly. The terrain in here is such that fire managers are saying that they're likely not going to be able to have this fire fully extinguished until snow and rain start falling in September and October. So this is going to be something that we're going to have to watch very closely for a while. Just yesterday, they closed Lake Cushman to all boating, the entire lake there. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. If you check out my channel here, I do have a couple videos from up in the area of this fire where I'm talking about it. Yesterday, I was up in that area. So be sure to check that out, and we will definitely be talking about this quite a bit over the next probably couple months here, as the location of this fire makes it easy for smoke to spread into the metro area. And speaking of that, here is smoke aloft. So you can see we're starting this at 9 a.m. You can see how this fire, with light winds relatively across the area, the smoke is just hanging there. Heavy smoke aloft over parts of Shelton and parts of the Puget Sound area. You can see as we go through the day today, it just starts producing a ton of smoke again, and that just kind of lingers, especially down towards Shelton and Olympia, maybe Tacoma as well, and then starts to push a little bit to the east across the Seattle metro area there. You can see as we go into Friday afternoon, and then take a look as we go into Saturday morning, just producing a bit more smoke moving up toward Canada. But that, again, this is smoke aloft, not smoke near the surface. So now let's take a look at that surface smoke. You can see it's a lot more contained there right along Hood Canal and some of the Olympics. But you can see as we go through the afternoon today, some of that surface smoke is going to be blowing south toward Olympia and over toward Shelton there as well. And then I don't really know what's going on with this fire signature by JBLM. My guess is that's not going to cause much of an impact. You can see as we go into Friday there that we start to see that surface smoke still contained around the Olympic Peninsula, but then starting to push out a little bit Friday evening. And then as we go into Saturday, you can see how with those relatively light winds, that smoke just spreads out across the Olympic Peninsula and maybe parts of the Hood Canal area as well. So this is definitely something we're going to need to be watching closely in terms of air quality impacts as we go over the next few weeks and possibly months here. And then right now, taking a look at air quality Thursday morning, you can see with most of that smoke contained in the Olympic Peninsula and some cloud cover, we're having really good air quality across the area, which is good because when I was down here along Hood Canal yesterday on Wednesday afternoon, we had some air quality around 150 to 160. So it's nice to see these things being a little bit clearer. We'll continue to see how that plays out over the next few days. I won't be surprised to see degraded air quality, especially down toward Olympia, maybe Lakewood and Tacoma as well, and Shelton too. So we'll definitely have to watch that, and I will keep you all posted. The link to the purple air map here is in the description of this video. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather. I've been getting some new subscribers lately, so that is great. I would love to see that continue to grow. And be sure to follow me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, and on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group as well. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.